Hole number 12, a par 5, the longest hole on the golf course, handicap 1. Certainly the length is a problem for most of the golfers, and it's the problem number 1. Not so much for professionals because they are long, but normal golfers, handicap golfers, club golfers, they usually suffer distance. So let's have a look what we talk with golfers on this long hole. So obviously it's tee shot strategies and options. When we are on the tee, we have, I'll probably take the tee shot again, yeah. We have a left side that the balls are gone. The right side is rather open. This serves as a good exercise to define what is your ball actually going to do in the air. Is it going to do this? Is it majority-wise going to do a little curve? Or is it going to do straight to the left? So it helps us to define what is my way of playing my driver. How can I set up for success on the tee? What clues do I have to have in practice that I can use then on the golf course? So it's literally on the driving range setting up in a way so you start learning to control your golf ball, whatever it does what it does. Because once you're on a golf course, it doesn't matter how well you swing it, you just have to control the golf ball. Even if the golf swing is a little unorthodox, but if you control the golf ball, then you're good. So the moment we go out on a golf course, we play with what we have, not with what we wish to have. So there is different strategies to be talked about, and maybe also golf clubs. And then here again, the left side is all in trouble. The ball's going to be gone. But since this is a par 5, it's rather wide from this side to that side. I mean, there's literally 80 meters. It'll be difficult to actually miss this area somehow. But then on the other side, it's also just a matter of, again, talking zones, realizing where does my ball have to come down, and from there, how do I go to the next zone? What club do I have? Is there a run out zone in the way which I have to be careful about? It gets narrower because there is bunkers, and then there is out of bounds on the right, which is towards the driving range, and on the left side, it's all water hazard, penalty area, red penalty area. So there's lots going on that hole. It's getting long. The second shot has to be played into a rather tight area, while the first one is wide open, the second one then is going to be tight. So it's literally about realizing, okay, so it is going to be tight. What am I doing? What can I do so the ball stays on the fairway? Do I have to aim differently because I know my ball does something on a consistent basis? Or am I not sure if it's going to do this or that? Then I probably have to scale down the golf club until I feel comfortable. So if I'm standing here and I'm going like, okay, 3 wood, I'm not sure if I'm going to get it in between there. It could be well outside. Okay, then take hybrid. Hybrid, it's still a little risky. It could still be somewhere out there if I mishit it. 5 iron, well, that's probably going to be easier. 6 iron, oh, that's going to be on. So you have your golf club. Whenever you get penalty strokes for lost golf balls, you have to scale the club down. It's just so important to do that scale down where you go from one club to another until you feel like nothing can go wrong. That's a really good way of doing that. So obviously when you do that, then your consequences are minimal. And if you can't do that, it's getting really difficult. Fairway bunker shots with long clubs. So whenever we are in a fairway bunker, this one's a bit deeper. These ones are shallow. So whenever you have fairway bunkers, it's a good moment to actually practice long golf clubs, because there is a difference between hitting a pitching wedge out of the bunker or hitting a 6 iron or a hybrid out of the bunker. Even if you take a hybrid and you make half three-quarter swing, it's still going to go further than your pitching wedge. So we try and maximize the leverage we have with the golfer's ability, and try and get the ball as far forward as we can, but always as safely forward, because we don't want to go to the right, to the left or to the right, because it's a lost ball. Strokes around trees and under trees, we love that because golfers have to get used how to play these shots. They have to realize that they can't just always hit a pitching wedge, even though if we're 60 meters away, they're going to crash the tree. So realizing that it's going to be a 7-iron and that the bounce points have to be somewhere over here so it ends up on the front of the green is probably a better way of realizing how they have to play these shots. So I quite often drop a ball in a situation and then I let them figure out how to get out, maybe hit 2 or 3 balls so they can learn from the situation from one shot to another. That's always a good way to do it. Semi-rough and side hill lies, we have quite a bit of a side hill situation here. So the last 80-90 meters, this is the 100-meter marker, the last 80-90 meters are downhill. So whenever we are in this situation, the ball's below our feet and it's always uncomfortable. So I usually drop a ball or two on different situations, different positions, maybe also in the first cut. So the golfer have to kind of like learn how to deal with the ball below our feet. In practice, we do work on that. We have on the driving range, just on the driving range on this side, we have a little mound system where we can practice side hill lies. So basically it's a mound like this and it goes down this way. So we can, on this side here, we can practice the ball below our feet for right-hander. On this side, we practice ball above our feet. Then we have downhill lies and we have uphill lies. Now the problem comes, or the difficulty usually comes, when we start mixing them. So when we have a situation here when it's downhill and the ball's below our feet, or it's downhill and the ball's above our feet, or the opposite. So we try and mix these situations. So, and that's why this situation over here is really, really good, because we can use the mounds here to actually hit balls onto the driving range, which then give us the ability to control side hill lies a bit better and easier. So we do practice stuff first, and then we put them into practice on a golf course, and then we see what works, what doesn't work, and we go back to the driving range and insist a little bit in the stuff that doesn't work. Control pitching distances. Of course, we can always have like several balls in different positions, and then they have to play it onto the green. First, they have to measure or know how to measure the distance to get a certain distance to the front of the green, to the flag, even sometimes to the back of the green when the flag's in the back. And then they have to get to know the distances that they have to play, which obviously we practice. So on the driving range, what we do is we have a area where we have different distances as poles. So like every 10 meters there is a pole from 30 to 90 meters. So golfers are hitting or learning how to hit to these different shots, these different targets, and they know which golf club they have to do. So when we are practicing, it's usually not so much that we are hiding in repetition. We are trying to control one shot at a time and as good as we can. So practicing is not hiding in repetition. Practicing is hiding or is creating variation. That's what we kind of like look for in our practice situation. So it's different golf clubs, different golf shots. So the golfer learns how to adapt to those situations with different golf clubs. That's really what it is all about. The Navy SEALs did say, train well. That's the main point. And they also say, because when you're under pressure, you don't rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training. So you have to train well. If you do 50 shots at a time, that's not training well. After 10, you know how to do that shot. That's when you have to start with variation. And then you have to go into test exercises. So another thing that we are talking with people usually is how to create a playing strategy on the golf course. So we do that with an Excel list like that. There's a lot of numbers on here. Just come with me. Don't go searching all over. I'm going to explain to you on top of that is the German version. So this is for men, handicap 20 to 36. they have a driver distance of about 180, wood 3 to wood 5 about 160, and the 7-iron is about 120 meter, and 9-iron about 100 meter. So the goal here is to do as little double and triple bogeys, no 3-putts, no penalty strokes, and the risk shots are marked in red. So when we create the practice plan, what we want to do is we want to give golfer the possibility to tear apart a hole and then have a look how they would structure zones into safety zones and danger zones. So if I'm going, so this is like the whole plan. So hole number 1 is a par 5 and it's that distance. And here we have shot number 1, shot number 2, etc. These are the distances that are added to each other. And then we have green zones are around 10 meters to the left and to the right from the center. And we might have green zones at 20 meters around the center, left and right. We definitely don't have green zones around 30 meters. So we try and create the green zones and give you points. So if you are in these zones, if you get your ball into these zones, you get points. So you then can mark down how many points you have made. So let's go to hole number 12 if we have that. So hole number 12 is literally, the first shot is 180 meter and it's an easy shot because it's black, because it's open. Then the second shot is a bit more difficult, it's 160, and the third is 120 meters. They're red marked, which are literally the first shot is over here, the second shot gets in here, the third shot gets into here. So they are more risky. So that's when I have to find out, okay, so on the first shot, I can have a little bit of a deviation to the right. That's fine. If I'm having to the right, I have more distance than to the left. So I'm okay if I'm more over this side from the center of the fairway. That's not going to be a trouble. So I'm still going to get the points that is 2 points for this situation. So then the second shot, I need to get 2 points on every good shot. And then that means I can only be 10 meters left and right. So out of 160 meters, I can only be 10 left and 10 right. So now it's getting difficult. So that's why we want to try and work with golfers to identify safe zones. And safe zone could be, this here could be a safe zone, or also the center. The center is a safe zone. So, and I want them to play the course and make as many points as they can, maintaining more or less this structure. If we can't maintain this structure, we have to change this distance. At 160, I can't get it in here, and I can't get it into the 1 point situation either. So if I can't do that, then I'd have to reduce this distance. I have to make 140 out of it. And then that one gets a little longer. We will probably keep it at 120, and that one gets a little longer. It's probably then going to be 110 to make it up to those 530 meters. So that's how we try and create a practice plan, a practice strategy. So golfers go out and play the course and try and score as many points as they can over 9 or 18 holes, to then identify clubs or distances that they can't stick into the safe zone, which is a 1 or 2 point zone. And then we can talk about that. Is it the visual? Is it your aiming point? And we get a better clue about where problems happen, and especially in what distances clubs problems happen. If we have a 160 or 180 situation there and we can't get it within what we should, then we'd have to reduce that distance and take a club that creates less problem, because every time when there is a problematic situation and we lose a ball, then that's something that we don't want to do. All right, so this is a bit more of an insight in what we do in how to create a playing strategy for a golf course on hole number 12.